Hey everyone, CyberMatt here, and today I'm talking about the 1 year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch. The good, the bad, and my predictions for the future. So, before we really get into talking about the Switch, let's talk about the Wii U. Because we really have to start here. So, I picked my Wii U up in the fall of 2014. Probably not the best time to buy a Wii U, but I definitely did get my money's worth. It's a great system with some fantastic games, but it had abysmal marketing and a number of game droughts and just bad third-party support. And so it really did not do well at all. But again, a great system with some great games. So, when the Switch came out, when it was first announced, a lot of people were kind of let down by the Wii U and really wanted Nintendo to make this powerful home console that would compete with the likes of the Xbox One and PS4. So when they unveiled this, a tablet-like hybrid device, a lot of people weren't convinced. And, when it was announced, I was excited for it because, Zelda, Mario games on it. It's exciting when any new Nintendo console gets announced. So, I was excited for it, but not very optimistic. I remember picking this up on launch day, the very first time I've done that, picked up a console on launch day, but I just did not think this console was going to do well at all. And over the course of this year, over 2017, I was very, very surprised how well the console did. But let's talk about some of the games here, because they're amazing games. You have Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it basically was a Wii U game, ported over to here, but still fantastic game. Does run a little bit better on the Switch. And of course, we have games like Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It came out of nowhere that everybody thought was going to be terrible. Turns out to be fantastic. And, I took a risk on that because, I really didn't know if I was going to like the gameplay. I've never played XCOM or a game like that before. So, I pre-ordered it, a couple days before it came out. And, of course, I wound up getting the collector's edition of it. But that game really surprised me. I had a lot of fun with that game, and it really is a good game. Of course, Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Super Mario Odyssey, an amazing Mario game. And then, of course, you have ports of Skyrim on a tablet and Doom on here. So, yeah, an amazing first year for the system. And Nintendo really, really lined up some fantastic games for the first year, and I think that has definitely helped in its success. And of course, now you have third parties kind of scrambling because they really didn't think this was going to take off, and who could blame them after the failings of the Wii U? And are wanting to come out with games for this system, and indie developers are wanting to get their games out on this system, and we're getting a lot of releases, like physical releases of indie games. I've got 25 different games here, physical, and a number of them are indie games. You got Rocket League on this system, crazy. So let's talk peripherals, because of course you have the Joy-Cons. I just got the standard gray Joy-Cons here. I kind of wish I would have gone with the red and blue, but I'm definitely going to pick up some Joy-Cons, some different color Joy-Cons at some point in the future. But I mean, these are very expensive, like $50 for one, and then $80 for a pair. That's just crazy. But then you have the Pro Controller here. Now, when the Wii U Pro Controller came out, that had something like a 60 to 80 hour battery life, an amazing battery life on it. And, I remember when I picked up that controller, I was like, oh my god, this is a great controller. I love this controller. And then when I got my hands on the Switch Pro controller, and if you go back to that Wii U Pro controller, it feels so cheap. I mean, this controller just feels so sturdy, so well built. It feels great in your hands. Just a really fantastic design on the controller. I know some people have an issue with the D-pad, but honestly, this is a really, really great controller. Not the battery life isn't as good as the Wii U Pro controller, but still, fantastic controller. So, and of course, we have Nintendo Labo coming out this year. So that will utilize the Joy-Cons in new and interesting ways with the IR camera built into this Joy-Con. So the 2018, there's a lot of good stuff on the way. It's not going to be as an impressive year as 2017 for the Switch, but I mean, yeah, we have some more Wii U ports coming over. We just got Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch. We've got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze coming, and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. But some cool third-party ones like Dark Souls Remastered, and Mega Man Legacy Collection. You know, and there's more to be announced, obviously. And of course, we have games that we really don't know the release dates coming from Nintendo. A new Fire Emblem game. Yoshi's coming at some point. We already know Kirby Star Allies is coming this month. New Pokemon game, Metroid Prime 4. So there are still some fantastic games on the horizon, and honestly, I know that there are surprises from Nintendo right around the corner. We're just going to get blown away by some of their surprises, because that's what Nintendo loves to do. Talk about some of the things that I really like about the system, and then we'll get into some things that I don't like and things I want them to change. So first up, I really like the portable nature of this console. And, you know, I didn't think I would all that much. Like, I do. I mean, I have a 3DS I play. I have a Vita I play. So, you know, I do enjoy portable handhelds. But, you know, I really wanted a console from Nintendo. So when I originally saw this, I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to play it on the TV with it hooked into the dock. Pretty much all the time. But I've noticed that, you know, I will play mostly in the dock, but it's really nice to just be able to, you know, if I'm sitting there playing and just being like, you know, I'm not exactly comfortable, I can take it out of the dock, go lay on the couch, and play it like this, you know, portably, and it's still the same game, you know. So that is a feature that I really like. I think it's just the idea of the portability of it. Just to have that available is just a nice thing. Like, just being able to lay in bed, you know, before you go to sleep and play a little bit. It's just a really nice feature of this console. Another thing I like is the kind of comeback of local multiplayer. You know, when you buy the system, of course you get 2 Joy-Cons, and you know, you can say, hey, you want to play a game? And, you know, offer a friend a Joy-Con. Granted, these aren't the best controllers for long, extended plays, but it's more of a convenience factor. And just for, you know, a couple games of Mario Kart, these are fine. And the fact that, you know, you can actually connect a number of Switch consoles together wirelessly for play like that. So that's an awesome feature that I definitely want to take advantage of at some point. I also like kind of the minimalist nature of the system, operating system. It's very simple, very intuitive to use, and that kind of gets into my first bad aspect. While I do like that it was very simple and intuitive to start out with, there are things that really need to get changed, like the fact that a year later we still only have 2 themes. You know, that's a little ridiculous. Let's have a theme shop just like the 3DS. I mean, that's amazing that you have all these different themes that you can, you know, put on your 3DS, but we're just stuck with 2 on here. That's ridiculous. Another problem with this is the memory. Now, out of the box, this only has 32 gigabytes of onboard memory, the exact same amount the Wii U had. And while, as for Nintendo games, they compress their games, so they wind up being very small in file size. And of course, with that doesn't really work well for third-party games, because a lot of third-party games are much bigger. And so what happens is that some games will require a micro SD card. Now, if you're gonna get a Nintendo Switch, you have to pick up a micro SD card anyway. It's a must for, just for added memory. So you really should factor that in when you're buying a Switch. I've seen a lot of people complain like they bought one and it's like, I have to have a micro SD card. Well, yeah, you do. I mean, think about all the eShop games that you could be downloading and all that. And of course with them, what was it? The 64 gig card that they delayed, the 64 gigabyte cartridge that they delayed, and of course the cartridges do cost a bit of money, and a lot of third-party developers are kind of cheaping out, putting part of the game on smaller size cartridges and saying, oh, you have to download the rest. Like, Doom actually did something nice, though, because they had, what was it? They had the single-player game on the actual cartridge, and then the multiplayer was a download. It still tried to force the download, though. That was the only thing. But, I mean, you can get around that to play the single-player. And then, of course, you have things like L.A. Noire, which, you had to download, like, I think it was 14-some gigs before you could even play the game. So just think about in the future when they don't have those servers up anymore to download. So you have the cartridge, you put it into your Switch, and you can't play the game. That kind of sucks. And then, of course, Resident Evil Revelations Collection, that had just the original Resident Evil Revelations on the cartridge, and then a download code for the sequel, which came in at 20-some gigs. So there are definite problems with the memory. I think at some point in the future, they obviously can expand the memory in the hardware. But honestly, micro SD cards aren't that expensive, and the bigger size ones, the prices are coming down. I have a 128 gigabyte card in there now. I'm probably gonna have to buy another card at some point, but right now it's doing me fine. Another complaint: no virtual console. Where is that? Well, I honestly think that Nintendo is kind of getting away from the virtual console as we know it. I think they are kind of waiting for the online service to come this fall to unveil it. And I don't necessarily think there's going to be like a big virtual console section on the eShop. I think they're just going to release games on there. But yeah, and oh my god, I would love GameCube games on here. GameCube games, come on. Obviously, they'd have to work something with the controls because of the analog shoulder buttons on the GameCube controller. But obviously, I don't think that would be too hard to work around. And just, oh my god, GameCube games on this would be fantastic. I would love to play GameCube games in HD. Oh, that would be amazing. Another complaint is the eShop. The eShop is, the setup of it is adequate, but as and when the system first launched, it was fine. But as more and more games have been added, it has become a lot harder to find games on there. And sure, you can search, but you can't search by genre, by developer. You can't do things like that. And it's just, it's going for this minimalist approach again, but it really needs to be overhauled so you can easily find games in the eShop. But as far as complaints go, that's really it. I can't say enough good things about this console. I really, really love it, and I'm really, really looking forward to the future. See what they bring to this console. Really excited about the new Fire Emblem game, new Metroid game. So yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think of the Nintendo Switch of its first year down in the comments below. And as always, like the video, share it, and subscribe.